Hi guys, Rosie Langella from Montgomery. Can you kind of explain what happened last night and what your trip was like getting here and everyone is okay and stuff like that? Can you take us through what happened?
Yeah, Jabari, you want to take that?
The flight got a little delayed, so we had to just stick around in Auburn a little bit. But we got it situated. Planes came and got us, and we got down here at a reasonable time. Ate dinner, and got some rest and got ready for today.
All right, next question right there.
Yeah, to follow up on that, I guess, Jabari, so the plane was just delayed, or were you guys in the air and it had to turn back? There've just been a couple of conflicting reports. If you can make it more clear of what exactly occurred.
Nah, it was just delayed, so we just couldn't get on it yet. And then when the other planes came, we just got on it and left.
Right there, Avery.
I guess for Walker, Bruce was talking after the A&M game how he expected defenses to continue to pack in for y'all, and dare you to shoot the three ball, kind of like A&M did in that game. Do you guys expect that heading into this one? And I guess what's kind of your offensive game plan after going over what happened against A&M?
We think that we're confident in our shooting ability. We're confident in our offensive ability. So regardless of what they do, we feel like we're prepared, and we'll expect whatever they throw out at us.
Next question.
Hello. For any of you guys, I guess Walker first. BP said he hasn't talked to y'all about sort of the lack of experience generally with NCAA tournament on this roster much this season. Walker, I know you had a chance at UNC. Is there anything that you tell everyone else sort of just about that experience and sort of lessons that you impart? And do you two think that that's anything that's even been a concern?
I think for all the guys, we all understand that there's a finality to the loss. We lose, we go home. So, even though I've had experience and they haven't, they still understand that just as good as I do.
All right, next question.
Yeah, Georgia Chambers, WFF TV. Jabari, when you were at Sandy Creek, we were kind of talking about, your road to Auburn and what made you choose it. So sitting in the position you're in now, what's really stood out to you so far with your first season with Auburn?
I would just say the family atmosphere, how together everybody is, how together the community is, and just how much the coaches care about their players. That's been the biggest thing to me. It was always more than basketball since the first day I got here, so that's been the biggest thing, and that's why I came here.
Next question over here.
Question all three. When you guys have had struggles or been long stretches without scoring, what are some of the things you guys have worked on to kind of slow down some of those lows a little quicker?
Alan, can you go first?
Just getting back in the gym and just putting the work back in and coming together as a team and talking about the problems that we have and trying to find solutions to them.
Anybody, Walker or Jabari, anything you want to add?
I'll hit it on the head.
Yeah, just staying in the gym, being ready to make shots, trying to take care of the ball, limit turnovers, and just get our shot at the end of the day.
Aaron?
Yep. Aaron Beard with the AP. This is for Jabari. When you were being recruited, we've seen high school kids have routes now not going through college basketball, G League. Did they reach out to you, G League, about trying to come that route? And I guess how important was it maybe to have a college experience or be in this tournament as far as the decision for you to be in college?
Yeah, they reached out, but it was just never my dream. It was just never something I just envisioned. So I just always had my goals set on college, playing in March, building relationships, and just, going through that college grind, just experiencing that college life. So that was always my dream, and that's just what I was set on. But, yeah, they offered the opportunity, but it was cool. But I knew what I wanted to do.
Question for Jabari. What was your favorite, right here. Yeah. What was your favorite NCAA team growing up?
Growing up, it was probably Kentucky when Karl Anthony Towns. But, as I got older, I started knowing people in college, build a relationship with Coach Harper. So I ended up watching Auburn, Jared Harper. That whole team being from Georgia, I knew some of them. So Auburn ended up being a favorite as I got older.
Right in the middle.
Hey, after your performance against Texas A&M, what's your plan on attacking Jacksonville State's three-point shooting?
Alan, could you take that?
Just getting up in guys, not letting them bring the ball up, denying catches, and just being aggressive, playing aggressive defense the whole game, much like the second half we played against Texas A&M.
Down low.
This is for Alan. Is your grandfather going to be here at the game? And this is a third generation basketball family with you. And I think you're going to be the first one to play in the NCAA tournament. What does that mean to you?
It means a lot. Just having my family here, everybody being able to see me play and experience new things. Like, they've never been to the NCAA tournament. So for all my grandparents and my uncles to be able to come out and enjoy the tournament and also get to see me play, I mean, it's amazing.
Avery, right there.
For Alan, with just how well Jacksonville State shoots the three, how much has Bruce kind of, just belabored the fact that you guys need to close out on the perimeter this week?
That's been the motto all week at practice. He's been stressing it over and over again, just getting up close on closeouts, making sure we arrive on the catch, hands up, and try to not let them shoot that ball.
Carrie Osep, WVTM out of Birmingham. This one is for whoever wants to take it, but obviously you guys have had such highs this season, but this is where it really counts. And I just want to know, from those moments that have been, the highest of highs for a basketball program, what did you guys learn from that now with some reflection as you head into the tournament?
Walker, you want to take that?
Sure. I think that the biggest thing we've learned is that we've all we got. Our teammates, our coaching staff, we can't rely on anyone else. We got to come together and do what we do best, and just really rely on each other.
All right, Pete. Pete, right there, him there first, Avery.
Pete Yakabelli from the AP. Jabari, does Coach ever talk about the last time Auburn was in the NCAA tournament in that Final Four game that kind of was a heartbreaker for you guys? I know none of you were in it, but does he talk about it? Does he remind you of it? And
he reminds us how hard it is to get there, how tough it will be, how tough every game will be. But he doesn't really talk about it much. He tries to focus on the present and just focus on this team and focus how to get back. That's what he's been stressing on, trying to get back and just trying to make history. So that's what we've been focusing on.
Down low on the left.
This is for Jabari. Johnny Conn, ABC 3340 Sports in Birmingham. After the Texas A&M loss, you said you were confident that Katie Johnson was going to bounce back shooting performance-wise. Can you talk to me what his week of practice was like? And I know he's a very emotional player. And what do you think he's going to be able to do for you guys on the floor come tomorrow?
He's going to be able to do it what he's been doing all season, bring energy, give us that spark that we need. And in practice, he's been great. He's been paying attention to detail. Had a lot of energy. I've been seeing him in the gym getting up shots on his own, so he's very locked in and very focused on bouncing back from that game, putting it behind him, and just moving forward.
Right here.
For Alan, this team had 4 transfers, and Jabari, there's a lot of overhaul to the roster, and yet you guys were able to win the outright SEC title. From your perspective as a guy who was a veteran on this team, what has made this team click? What made this team click as quickly as it did, and how have y'all been able to be this successful?
I would say how fast we actually ended up bonding. When you bring in a lot of new guys and transfers from a lot of different places, everybody's kind of different. It kind of takes a while for groups to normally click and get in sync, but as soon as we got here, we immediately started hanging out and going places, going bowling and stuff, just spending time with each other. And when we got on the court together, we just synced, and it's been great since.
Right here.
For Al, I know that team that you were a freshman on, obviously when things got shut down, y'all were going to be a pretty high seed in the tournament. Just, do you kind of feel like maybe you're carrying that on for maybe some of the guys who weren't on that team? And I guess how excited are you to be back in the tournament now, since you guys weren't able to when you were a freshman?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like we're carrying that on for the guys that missed out that freshman year. But I also feel like that this team, that we feel like we have more on the plate, that we want to make history, meaning that none of us have played in the tournament before. Those guys played on the Final Four team and then got to make their run. So I feel like we're more hungry.
Since we got to start a little early, this is the last question in here. Go ahead.
Anyone can answer this one. So early in the week, Coach Pearl mentioned to expect a lot of fans traveling to this game in South Carolina. So what does it mean to players, you know, to see at an away game and look at the stands and see the jungle traveling?
Jabari, you want to answer first?
Yeah, it just shows us what Auburn really is, what it's really known for. You know, a big fan base, a fan base that's gonna travel, a fan base that's gonna show you love. So when we see that, you know, it just hypes us up. It just makes us feel like we got to leave it all out there for them, not only for us. So, you know, it helps us a lot, and we really appreciate them.
Thanks for your time, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. As a reminder, recording this press conference, just a second. As a reminder for those on Zoom, when we get to the Zoom portion, if you'll please raise your hand if we're going to call on you. We'll get to you in a little bit. But, Coach, as we get started, could you please give an opening statement?
Well, Auburn is very excited about being in the NCAA tournament. This team was picked 5th in the SEC, rightly, because we had so many new faces. The kids worked really hard in the offseason and in the early season against a challenging schedule to get good quick, and probably played our best basketball sometime at the end of January and early February. The focus was on the process. The focus was on becoming a better team. And then I think when we were ranked 1 and it was a big target on our heads, and we began to look at, wow, this SEC championship's really maybe in our reach, it began to be the end result. We got to win this one. We got to win this one, and then a little less on the process. I'm trying to get us focused back to the process right now. Okay, what are the things that we need to do to be a great team and win a championship?
Down low.
Johnny Connon, ABC 3340 in Birmingham. Last game obviously wasn't Katie Johnson's best by any stretch of the imagination. I asked Jabari, he said he's putting up extra shots in the gym. Can you walk me through what his week of practice was like, and has he done anything differently to shoot the ball a little better come tomorrow afternoon?
You know, it's tough when it's not going in, right? It's psychologically a challenge, you know, and but if he makes one, watch out, right? Because it'll just be, you know, and so when Jabari was asked the question, are you worried about KD shooting? He's like, 100% not worried about it. You know, so he is a very unpredictable player. And so not shooting it well was sort of unpredictable. So you never know exactly what you're going to get. But he more often than not, he's delivered for us.
Right here.
Bruce, you talked about it. The team was picked 5th to finish 5th in the SEC. A lot of new faces. You guys are a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament, won the outright title. What was the key to getting these guys to click like they did so quickly? And like you said, be playing their best basketball at the end of January.
I think that the key was just because when we recruited them, they recruited into a certain culture in our locker room, and I promised Jabari or Walker that I'd surround them with great kids, that they would make lifelong friends, and they liked each other, and they got close. You know, there's a real advantage to living in a great dorm and being around each other all the time, and then, you know, on the court, they went and competed and try to, you know, compete for positions and playing time and roles. And so we got after each other all summer long and then put it together, you know, obviously put it together in the fall. From a standpoint of the pieces, you know, we've got the defensive player of the year in my mind, and Walker Kessler, the best shot blocker in the country. He cleans up a lot of our messes. I can play call, get Jabari Smith the shot. He's going to make it most of the time. And we've got, you know, undersized but dynamic guards that are capable of getting hot and making plays. So put it all together, and especially this year in this league, this was the best the SEC's been since I've been in there, and you know, top to bottom. And so to be able to, you know, survive it and stay on top was a great accomplishment. But that's the regular season. This is the postseason. It's one and done right now.
Gene?
What did you get from Zep this year on and off the court, and what was better or different than what you might have expected?
Great question. If you want to watch Zep Jasper play basketball and watch him defend and say that's Auburn basketball, I'm down with that. I'll roll with that all day, every day, because he's going to give you 100%. He's going to give you everything he's got. And so he was better. He was even a better on-the-ball defender than I thought. offensively, he's so unselfish, you know, that obviously you can see his assist-turnover ratio. He doesn't take enough chances to make plays for himself or others because he values the possession and he doesn't really want to make mistakes. And he's way too coachable. Like, you got to hear what I'm saying, but don't listen that closely to everything. Like, I got guys that don't listen to anything I'm saying, right? He listens to everything word for word. And I got to be careful sometimes because he'll do what I ask. So just a great kid, a fan favorite. You know, just takes his time with people. Got a genuine heart. We lose to Texas A&M, and we brought thousands of people to Tampa for the SEC tournament. And he apologizes publicly that we didn't play better and stay longer, recognizing those people spent their money, their hard-earned money to come support us. And he meant every word of it.
Over here on the left.
Bruce, what does it say about you or KD that you would let him stay on the court being 0 for 14? And speaking of people who listen, how high is he on the listening list?
KD's come a long way. He's been fun to coach. You know, I'd rather. Here's the deal, dads. Have you ever coached your son and after he struck out, he threw his bat, and he kind of embarrassed you a little bit in front of other people because he kind of cried when he fouled out? I had one of those sons in Stephen Pearl. Okay, I got another one of them in KD Johnson. You want to know what he's thinking? Just look at his face. All those expressions. I'd rather teach him to care a little less than to care. The fact that he cares and the fact that he is emotional and the fact that he is unpredictable, you know, he's a maniac, but he's my maniac, okay? And you know, look, our job is to kind of get them from where we get them to where we got them to where we want to help them get to where they want to be. So that's a process. And, you know, you guys get a chance to see that process unfold on the court and in practice, and we get to live it. That's our job, to try to get him right and get him ready.
Aaron?
Beard with the AP.
And as far as, like, if anybody writes or says, what is he doing on the floor? Really? That's just motivation for KD to...
Aaron Beard with the AP. There's a lot of experience in the coaching ranks in this building here between Jim Larinaga and your bracket, Mike Krzyzewski and Tom Izzo, Bob McKillop. You've been to a Final Four. They have a lot of them. I'm curious, I don't know if you'll bump into these guys, what your thoughts on the amount of experience that's here, but also how much of a factor can that be in a tournament with coaches that have kind of seen in everything in a tournament with a deep run?
Well, I think the people in Greenville are going to, you know, what a treat to be able to see the coaches that you talked about and their teams. And keep in mind, most of those guys that you mentioned, even though I'm like gray and a lot older than I'm 62 now tomorrow, right? Those guys were all my mentors and guys that I looked up to and hope to be someday and be able to be in the same building with them and compete against them. So it's a pretty big thrill for me. I think player experience sometimes can be almost more important than coach's experience. We've got to get some experience tomorrow against Jacksonville State. That's not going to be easy. That's an old team. That's a hungry team. It's a talented team. They shoot the three ball really, really well, and they've got step-up ability. They really do. They've got great athletes. Ray Harper's done a terrific job. We've got to survive and advance that one and get on the job training. Walker Kessler is the only player in my locker room that's played the NCAA tournament, and I think it was 10 minutes or something like that for North Carolina, and they didn't last very long. The year we won the national, went to the Final Four in 2019. The year before that, we got to the second round and lost to Clemson, but that team came back and kind of knew what it took. This team doesn't yet. They will tomorrow when we face Jacksonville State.
Pete Iacobelli, Associated Press. Bruce, given that, are there some similarities between the team that went to the Final Four and this group? And I got to ask, how often does that Virginia game flash in your mind these days?
It doesn't flash in my mind very often, just every morning when I wake up. Probably 2 or 3 times during the day, and then when I go to bed at night. I mean, other than that, I'm over it. I'm okay. I'm over it. No. Honored and blessed to have gotten there. Got beat by Virginia, period. And they went on to win a national championship. So I think that the difference going in right now, this team right now is defending like that team did, okay? But we're just not shooting it like that team did. And we've got to be able to make some shots. We got to shoot the ball better than we've shot it. And so, but we're still running the same stuff. And I laughed, you know. And again, a lot of those shots that we took against Texas A&M, there were several contested. There were several early. But those are the same shots we were making in Nashville and Utah and Kansas City on the road to the Final Four. Same shots.
Over here on the right.
Hey, Bruce. Michael Rothstein from ESPN over here. You talk about one and done now, but you are 3-3 in your last 6. What's changed maybe over the last 3 weeks with this team that's put them in maybe more difficult situations?
Say it again. Explain that a little bit more.
Yeah, well,
Yep.
y'all 3-3 in the last 6 games.
Yes.
What's changed maybe from the beginning of the year and that run that you were on to the last 3 weeks or so?
You know, well, I would say in part at Arkansas, at Florida, at Tennessee, and then a hot Texas A&M team. But you're not wrong in pointing out the fact that we've not played, you know, as well. Possible scouting, you know, kind of book is out a little bit on your guys. By the time you get to the end of the season, we've shown most of our stuff, and this is what we're good at. And so, you know, have we been able to make the adjustments? Okay, they're taking all this stuff away. What else can we do? And so, you know, some of it can be just limitations and what our guys can and can't do. And part of it was a schedule. Part of it was scouting. And part of it was worrying about the result instead of just focusing on the process. We got to get a little bit more offense for our defense. We got to create a few more turnovers. Offense does get difficult in postseason play, I think, when all 5 guys are back and they're guarding.
How does that get fixed then in now a situation where if you do your next loss, if you do lose, that's it?
How does it get fixed?
Yeah.
Well, Jacksonville State has an advantage. They're in state. Ray Harper has an advantage. He's coached against me when he was at Kentucky Wesleyan. They know what to do. But generally speaking, no opponent is going to know us like our league knows us. And so one of the great things about really, truly non-conference, I love November and December college basketball. I actually like it better than January. I like it better than league play. I do. And when I was an analyst, I actually liked it better because I love the non-conference matchups where coaches didn't know everything about each other's systems. And I think actually sometimes the games were actually prettier. You get in conference play, I mean, it's a grind because everybody knows everything about everybody. And so that would be the one thing that potentially could help us is just playing against somebody that we haven't played against year after year after year.
All right, these are the final 3 questions, starting right here.
Bruce, JoeGoodmanAO.com. It's the last tournament for Coach K. What has he meant to the game of basketball internationally, domestically, college basketball? What has he meant to the game and to you?
You know, what he's done as an Olympian, representing our country, winning gold, what he's meant to, you know, all the coaches that have looked up to him, doing it the right way, all the assistants that have gone on and been great teachers and mentors, you know, themselves. You know, it's kind of like, you know, Dick Vitale and what he did to college basketball in his position is akin to what Coach K has done as a leader of our coaching profession. And he's done it with dignity. He's done it with class. He's done it his way. He is competitive. He is tough. He's fierce. That's how he grew up. That's how he worked his way through the Army and through the ranks. He's never tried to be somebody he wasn't. And I respect him for that.
Right here in the middle.
Carrie out of WVTM in Birmingham. So I want to know, a lot of coaches say, you know, there's a lot to be learned in losses and those falls. And I know the climb to the top is fun. That journey is great. Being up there is great. But just asking your coaching philosophy, what have you learned from the team kind of dropping off from those highest of highs this season? And what have you seen from your guys as you, sorry if this is, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. And what have you seen from your guys as they kind of adjust to not being at that top?
Yeah. Adversity reveals character. It can build it, but adversity reveals it. And I think that one of the things that our kids have done is they've consistently bounced back. They've gotten to the next play. They've gotten to the next game. Can we do it in the game a little sooner? In a sense that we've been fine the next day, but can we be better the next play? All right, you missed a shot, next play. You got a bad call, next play. And so in some of our defeats, we've allowed some of our failure to compound in games. Here we go. We're going to go through another dry spell. And that's something that they've been fine the next day, but we got to fix it in game a little quicker.
Right here on the left.
Bruce, all the Jacksonville State players said they're going to play with a chip on their shoulder tomorrow, and I think that's probably something you understand from your earlier days as a coach. And talk about the challenge of that, plus a team that's got two of the top three-point shooters in the country.
Yeah, listen, all I want to be is a 12 seed, okay? I'm a 12 seed. You're looking at it, that's who I am. That's who I've always been. And that's who my teams have been. That's what Auburn basketball still is. I know we're a 2 seed. And I hope we take advantage of the hard work that we've done to be a 2 seed, okay? But we're hungry and we're humble, and we've got the underdog thing on as well. I understand Jacksonville State. I respect them. They have step-up ability, and because they're such a dangerous three-point shooting team, and they can make them contested, and they absolutely can get hot. But it's not going to be because they want it any more than we do. Or anything like that. So that's who we've been in our league. Look, we're in the SEC. We're Auburn in the SEC in men's basketball. And we're regular season champions. And we are going to try to represent our conference and our university. And Jacksonville State's in the way. So we both have got great motivation.
All right, last question.
Bruce, I wanted to ask about scouting, like you mentioned. You've said a few times that, teams will sort of just gradually get better at guarding and defending some of the ball screen stuff you guys have done. At this point in the season, as they have that sample size, are you trying to draw up new stuff? Is it you sort of work with what you've got and find new timing, or what's sort of the balance of that?
Well, if you've ever seen my practice plans, I drew up something new this morning, okay? And where I thought we could get a shot out of it, and we're going to run it tomorrow. You are always tinkering, and you are always, trying to make adjustments. And like, in other words, early in the game or early in the half, we'll run something to see how they're going to guard it, see how they're guarding that action, to have an idea of that might not be the best thing to run to get a bucket right then, but it might be something to run that's going to tell us what their preparation was. And then the question is, do we have enough stuff in the bag, given how they've chosen to guard, to be able to take advantage of the defense? We are not a team, either offensively or defensively, that simply imposes its will on the opponent. We take what you'll give us on both ends. If you don't like to be guarded this way, we're going to guard you that way. Even though it's not how we guard all the time, we're going to guard you that way. If pressure bothers you, we'll press you. If zone bothers you, we'll zone you. And the same thing with what we do offensively. We're going to take what you give us.